So, you modded your PS Vita. Now what are you gonna do?
I don't know. I never thought I'd get this far.
What can you do with a modded Vita, you ask? Well, you can use it as paperweight, a drink coaster. Oh, you mean like, what can you do on the PS Vita? A modded PS Vita lets you expand your system in different ways. For example, first let's talk about the SD to Vita. The memory cards for your Vita are very expensive, and SD to Vita lets you use a micro SD adapter for the Vita game port, which can expand your memory. The downside is you literally take up your game cartridge slot. No biggie. There is another option too. If you have the 3G model like this one, there's a mod to replace the 3G module and the SIM card slot to use the SIM card slot for a memory card. It's supposed to be more reliable and have faster speed readings, and your game port isn't used up. I went with the SD to Vita option, but there's pros and cons to each one, and I'll have links in the description for both methods. Another thing you can do with a modded PS Vita is have custom themes, of course, which I've spoken about in a previous video on apps for a modded PS Vita, which will appear somewhere on the screen here, so I'm not going to go into specifics of the apps, but the links will be down below. Aside from the custom themes, you can also have a PSP emulator on your Vita, which turns your PS Vita into a fully fledged PSP, and you can play your PSP games that you extracted from your physical PSP games and transferred over to your Vita, of course. You can also change the X and O inputs on a Japanese Vita, so they won't be backwards on your Vita menu. You can stream your Vita to your PC, and vice versa. Which I also spoke about in another video. Quick, hit the like button every time I reference another video. I almost got you there. Well, of course these apps and features are available for modding your Vita, and another great thing you can have on here is Homebrew games and apps. Apps that let you do what I just mentioned before, and more. Apollo Save tool here lets you manage save files straight on your Vita. Hexflow Launcher here gives your Vita a 3D launcher menu that looks really cool. In terms of Homebrew games, they include Android ports of games like Modern Combat 3, or Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, and Dead Space, and more. It does require you to download extra files and maybe install some plugins, and of course you have to have a copy of the game files extracted from your Android device where you purchased your game from the Google Play Store. Maybe I can make a whole video on Android ports for the Vita, since I have old Android phones that I have some of the games that I purchased over the years. Why don't you hit that like button if you want me to make a video on that? I almost got you again! There's also a huge library of original Homebrew games made by the community, like Left 4 Dead 2D, a Cut the Rope clone, a Crossy Road clone, and a Halo 2D game that I covered in another video. Okay, so there's a lot to explore once you mod your Vita, and once you have everything set up, you can dive into the world of the Vita. It's really up to you and how you want to set it up, and what apps you want to install, how you're going to play the Vita, and what you're ultimately going to get out of the experience. The Vita DB Downloader app has so many applications that I've mentioned so far, and I've only covered a small percentage of what a modded Vita can do. You know what? Turbo mode time. You want to know what apps you can install? Well, I'll have all the links in the description below, which is going to be kind of full, I imagine. But here goes. A speed platform that predicts your moves using AI, a Tamatool emulator, SoulCaliber Android port, a Switch UI clone launcher, Vita Media Center, an app to play MP4 games, a Fallout 2 port, Camera Vita camera alternative that unlocks new options in the camera settings. Whoa, what's going on? There must be too many links in the description box that are leaking into the video. Computer overload!